One of the topics I like talking about the least is budgeting. It's not as fun as all the other topics, cryptocurrency, credit cards. But did you know that there is actually a way to combine some of those topics? For example, by utilizing a couple of strict guidelines for yourself, you could actually use credit cards to help with budgeting. Now, I know credit cards are a slippery slope for some people and they never want to use them. However, I'm in the camp that when you use them properly, they can enhance your quality of life, and there are a lot of points and miles to be earned. So today, I'm going to share with you some pretty successful tips that you can use to help budget using credit cards. You're not going to want to miss this. So you heard right. I personally don't like talking too much about budgeting because it just isn't that interesting of a topic. I don't get together with my wife on Friday and say, "Hey honey, you wanna grab some drinks and we'll talk about the budget?" Still, I know it's important to have a monthly budget at least. Basically, how much money do you have coming in? How much do you need to spend on non-negotiables like debts or rent or your mortgage, food on the table, keeping the lights on. And then you also need to think of the saving and investing and, doing some fun stuff or long-term planning with any money that's left over. So let's start off by talking about a couple of ways that people can do their own budget in their own way. And then hopefully you can find one that's right for you and we could start to incorporate this credit card strategy. The first budgeting technique that I want to talk about is the one that I personally like and use for myself. It's called the pay yourself first method. See, I take into account all my retirement contributions, putting money away for the kids, like college funds, all the bills we have to pay, all the money we have to spend. I sort of prioritize it where I take care of what we are saving and investing first, and then I make sure that whatever's left over can cover our basic needs. You see, that way, if there's just a little bit of money left over, then maybe we don't feel so guilty if we're going out to eat or buying that $4 coffee. But if it is a tight month and there are no funds left over, then maybe we stay home and we just eat outside on the patio or just, have make your own pizza night. But using the pay yourself first budget, I am always taking care of retirement contributions, long-term savings, short-term savings, and still paying all the bills. The next technique that some people like to use for budgeting is called ZeroSum Budgeting. They basically give every single dollar a job, and they put some here, they put some there. A lot of times this is using an online software, something like mint.com, Personal Capital, and by assigning your money to all these different places, there is no money left over at the end of the month. However, you have already thought about things like entertainment, buying shoes for the kids, saving for the vacation, and you just allocate those funds appropriately. Personally, that sounds like a great method to use, and if it works for you, especially with some online software, I think it's going to be a lot easier to track than using any sort of other method. However, there is a very popular spreadsheet method. Some people grow up, they just learn how to use spreadsheets, and they like to create columns of all the money coming in, columns of all the money coming out, columns for what they want to save for. And the spreadsheet does some automatic math for them. So month after month, year after year, they have this personalized way of tracking their spending, their saving, and their investing. Now, if the spreadsheet method of budgeting works for you, then more power to you. But I think a lot of people find that over the course of a few years, especially if you are married and trying to share your budget or your household income with your spouse, that living in the spreadsheet isn't realistic long term. It can get overwhelming, so to speak, to attempt to communicate that spreadsheet to other people who don't think that way. So I think it's best to probably move on to some sort of online budgeting tools like the ones I mentioned before. Again, there are tons of those online apps, so let me know down in the comments which ones you like to use. In this house, I've used Mint.com for years. I've checked out Personal Capital, and I know you can even pay for a few other ones. So again, just let me know what you like to use down below in the comments. Oh, and real quick, if you haven't already given this video a like, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It's going to help spread the word to other people who can view this content, and I really appreciate it, so thanks. So moving on, let's talk credit cards. I think the power of using credit cards and paying them off each and every single month can truly change your way of life. I've made videos about how my family has traveled for free. We're talking a family of 4, flights, hotel rooms. I'm taking a trip in the next couple of months with some friends of ours, and our trip was free. Theirs was going to be like over $1,000. We signed up for a credit card, and now they're staying for free too. So the power of credit cards when used responsibly, when paid off every single month, is awesome. So what you need to do in terms of using a credit card for budgeting is to decide what expenses you want to put on the card. I'll give you a for example. You might have some recurring expenses that you could just set and forget. Maybe it's the internet bill, the cell phone bill. There are cards out there that will give you points for paying those types of utilities, sometimes even give you discounts if you pay those utilities in the form of cash back or points. So some people like to put those expenses on credit cards because they can just set it and forget it. You can set your credit card to be paid automatically every single month, and then that way the Disney Plus, the Netflix, whatever, it's paid for and it's put on the credit card. Now then again, some people only like to use their credit card for like one-off expenses. Maybe that car repair, maybe you need like a set of new tires. Typically those expenses are larger expenses, and I totally understand putting the larger expenses on a credit card because number one, you're going to get a ton of points, and number two, if it's a new card, it's going to help you hit those sign-up bonuses so you can get the maximum amount of points for opening the card. So picture this, you have all those recurring expenses. Like I said before, it could be internet, it could be heat, gas, electric, rent, or mortgage. There are ways to pay for all of those expenses using credit cards. Because they're recurring, they help you establish a monthly budget because you can see on the credit card statements exactly how much money you're spending. And also, that means you can also plan to gain a specific amount of points or miles using these credit cards each and every month. You see, the best way to use credit card points and miles is when you have a trip planned and your dates are a little flexible. So by building points every single month, when and if it's time to travel or maybe make a larger purchase and cash in some of those points, you're going to already have them like banked, ready to go. I'm about to name my 2 favorite credit cards, like kind of basic cards that maybe everybody should hold, especially for the purposes of establishing like a monthly budget. The first card I'm going to mention is the Amex Everyday Credit Card. Just like the name says, this is a great card to use for everyday purchases and expenses because you're going to get 1% points on everything. Of course, there's no annual fee, but what's really cool, especially if you have a family or you do a lot of cooking, is that they're going to give you 2x points on your first $6,000 per year at supermarkets. So if you just wanted to be disciplined and just have a card you use for something like groceries, this is a great option with no annual fee. Up next is Old Faithful. It is going to be Chase's Freedom Unlimited card. What's great about this card is that you get 1.5% cash back on all purchases, but then you actually get 3% cash back on dining at restaurants, purchases at drugstores, and then here's the best part, 5% cash back on any purchases that code in as travel. So it's a truly versatile card that you know you could keep, and if you wanted to use for just those specific categories, you sure could, or if you wanted to just use for every single purchase possible, then you know you could be racking up these Chase points. And of course, these are transferable to other travel partners. I'm not going to get into that today, but it's really a great card to use for basically your everyday spend. I'll leave a link down below to both of these cards, so feel free to check them out to learn more. A few key takeaways. Credit cards, when used properly, can really help you accumulate tons of valuable points and miles, simply putting all of your everyday spend and your monthly budget onto these cards. However, you have to be disciplined about it. It's not a good idea to carry a balance month to month, and if you are going to carry a balance, you need to know how much interest you are actually paying and how much that is hurting your monthly budget. As a result, if you find yourself in a situation where you just can't go down that slippery slope, then stick with a method that works best for you. However, in this household, we love using cards for travel, for groceries, for online purchases, and I just can't imagine losing out on all those benefits simply thinking that spending cash on everyday purchases is a better way to go. However, to each their own, and I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. I have a ton of more resources on my website, so be sure to check that out. Also, if you haven't already given this video a like, then please hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.